Welcome to another day here in Copenhagen. We got a little bit of a late start just because we partied a little bit too hard last night, so we had to shuffle some things around.
Join me as I take a ferry boat across the canal. Brian and I have a personal little rave, and then we enjoy the nightlife for one last time here in Copenhagen. But first, coffee. We went to Rug Bakery for some pastries and some coffee this morning. It was actually really fancy for just being a little bakery and coffee shop. I opted for a chocolate croissant as well as an oat milk matcha, which was perfect for what my stomach could handle. We finished our breakfast and then it was off to the train.
We didn't really plan to see the Little Mermaid, but we wanted to check out that glass shop one more time, but they actually had one that they called their Sea Lab, so we stopped and checked that out.
And which this location of the store had almost exactly the same things as the other ones, but it was still neat to check out the space. We decided to walk the waterfront down to the Little Mermaid, stopping to see a couple different statues along the way. Copenhagen does seem to have an obsession with Greek statues for sure.
We didn't really plan to see the Little Mermaid. Now, since we were in the area, we decided let's take a picture.
And now we've seen the Little Mermaid from almost every angle, between seeing it from land as well as our boat tour on day one.
And right across the bay from the Little Mermaid is Reffen Food Hall and McKellar Brewing.
That is where I'm headed to next. We just have to jump on the ferry boat, which was free, a part of our Copenhagen card. And we were off to Reffen. The ferry only took about 10 minutes and dropped us off about a 5-minute walk away. We passed by McKellar Brewing and then went to Reffen. There are definitely lots of shops and restaurants here. You can get almost any kind of food that you can think of. If you wander around enough, you'll definitely find a little stall serving exactly what you're hungry for. Japanese to fish and chips and everything else in between. And with a little humor on the side. Also had little clothing and hat stores, as well as plenty of art and murals, even a glass shop here as well. Or you could get a tattoo, or if you want something more adventurous, you could even bungee jump from this crane. Not something I would ever do personally. And there was even more food and a second brewery as well. We only wanted a quick little snack, so we got some Parmesan fries. They were okay, they were definitely tried many times, and the cheese was very much baked into them. Now, it's time to head back, take in the sights of the waterfront from the other side, and head back on the ferry. Unfortunately, this is the closest we got to Copenhagen. For now, another ride on the boat. We went to the train station for an attraction called The Tube. It is an immersive artist exhibit where you go through many different rooms, including this one, which was an optical illusion, which definitely felt like you were upside down when you were actually in it. And a bunch of different hallways and rooms, including feeling like you're stuck in traffic, having your own personal rave light show, which we've definitely spent a lot of time in here, and we were trying to break up the crowd because we ran into the group in front of us.
I think I wore a good shirt for this room.
We were off to see a whole new world and get lost in this rope forest filled with many different colors. And after the rope forest, it was filled with vines, leading into a nighttime jungle. Besides taking us around the world, there were a lot of things playing with mirrors and light. As well as this jungle gym snake tube that you must go through to continue, even with all the flashing lights and colors.
After the tube, we did a quick pit stop at the hotel so I don't have to carry around what I bought at the glass shop for the rest of the evening. Now we're headed to Papa Ramen for dinner, and then another brewery in the same area as the Meatpacking district. I'm just gonna believe and go with that this IKEA is actually serving alcohol at this rooftop bar, and people are just getting turned at the top of IKEA. That's definitely, I feel like, my energy, and I would drink on top of an IKEA. Let me drink in the IKEA. I feel like everyone drinks kind of everywhere, wherever they want in Denmark, so why not in the IKEA?
Pretty quickly we made it here to Papa Ramen, and it was a little bit off the beaten path. Brian opted for a Kirin beer, while I just got some sparkling water. We started with the chicken karage, which was slightly overdone, otherwise good. Then we got our bowls of ramen, which had these crispy golden garlic chips, definitely stole the show.
Just wrapped up at Papa Ramen. I would say it was solid, about 6 out of 10. Pretty run-of-the-mill standard. I wish the broth was a little thicker, but other than that, it was a quick, easy 30-minute dinner.
And then we went to Fermentoren for a couple beers. It definitely had an old European feel, especially on the inside, and it had a very extensive rotating beer list.
My last drink, I got a sour saison that I didn't expect to be purple, which when Brian brought it back from the bar, I just didn't think this was the correct drink, but I guess it is. And it almost reminds me of like fruit snacks and pencil shavings. So if that's a compliment, then great. If not, I'll drink it either way. Yeah, definitely pencil shavings. Besides my saison that we ordered, our last round is we got a couple of stouts. This one apparently has licorice in it because like the Danes apparently like licorice, according to the bartender, which I think it's okay, nothing too special, but this one has some sort of like toasty marshmallow graham crackery flavor, and I think it's much better.
And let's just say when I went to the bathroom, they had some interesting decor. And a very poetic message. But we were definitely enjoying our evening patio vibes, even though we knew Copenhagen's nightlife for us was coming to an end.
We just wrapped up at For a Mentor, and that was our last spot for our little nightlife adventures here in Copenhagen. Now we're going to walk about 20 minutes back to the hotel and sadly start to pack up.
As we get back to the hotel, let's do a room tour.
Here's this bed. It is only a double, which is okay. It can sleep two perfectly fine. And then we have the window right next to it, which it does get pretty bright pretty early here in Copenhagen, at least here in the summer. The sunrise is usually around 4:30 to 5. That is mid-July. Otherwise, pretty solid view. We also have a TV, but the TV doesn't swivel. So based on the position of the TV, to the bed. It's not really the most optimal for watching, but it does what it has to do. This hotel is very green focused, especially with energy and cleaning, that they actually only clean upon request. Otherwise, they just will keep skipping you. About after day 3 or 4, without us asking to clean, they did come in and like fold the bed, replace towels, vacuum a little bit, just to make sure that everything is good to go. Additionally, they have what are almost like key cards for the room, in which that if you take out the card, it'll stop like the AC and heat, just in case you're not in the room. It's an easy way just to cut back on the electrical expenses and only use it when you're actually in the room. It seems to be a pretty standard bathroom. It's not the biggest bathroom in the world, but based on the room size, I would say it definitely fits. It is fairly clean, which obviously is expected, but there's a toilet, some fresh towels, a sink, and some soap. And then behind me is the shower, in which it's this giant tube, essentially, with all frosted glass. I would say the only weird thing about this room is that this just may be a Europe or Denmark thing. This room has 0 fridge and 0 microwave, so if we were to bring food or buy food, we don't really have anywhere to put it. So we just set it out, which isn't really the best for food safety. And if we wanted a cold drink after being outside in the heat all day, we're kind of out of luck unless we stop at a 7-Eleven and drink it then. So that's basically the entire room tour. It's just the bedroom and the bathroom. There's not really much to the room. Besides that, there's like a small desk area and a little chair, but we basically use them to hold clothes because back on day 1 when I got my suitcase from the airport, everything was soaked. My whole entire suitcase was soaked, so this whole week I had clothes fully around the room, hanging up on almost every surface that I could find, just to make sure I actually had clothes to wear this week. Other than that, that's the room tour. And I'm also going to call it here for today's video. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And with that, it is our last night here in Copenhagen, so we're going to focus on packing everything up, getting ready to go, and tomorrow we are off to Rijeka, Croatia, but we do have a small layover in, I believe, Basel, Switzerland, but their airport is actually in France, so we're not really sure if we have customs just to make transfer of flights, and if we do, what country we're actually going to be a part of. So stay tuned for that as well. Have a good night, and I'll see you in coach.